Honestly, I was not a big fan of Arslan Senki this episode. I mean, I think you guys can probably guess why. I am not a fan of when anime drop a massive cliffhanger without establishing that there's going to be a next season at a certain date. That always really, really aggravates me. I mean, it annoys me when any show will drop a cliffhanger at the end of their season because it's just a way to get you to come back. But it's a good marketing technique. It's just most shows when they do it, like over in the West especially, they normally only drop a cliffhanger like that if they know they've been renewed for the next season. With anime, on the other hand, anime very rarely get renewed for the next season until after. So, I mean, they planned out this whole thing. It's not like that series felt like it was cut short. Because, yes, it did end at 8 episodes, but it seems like they'd taken that into account. Because this was a big wrap-up kind of thing. They did the whole the dust clouds are swirling up and dancing thing. Like, mentioning the name of the series, making it all wrapped up. They were clearly planning on ending this series here. It's not like it was cut short. But they've dropped us into the middle of the best goddamn bit and then left us there. It's like, oh, Hilmes gets this badass moment in this episode of going to get Ruknabad, scaring away Baldwin, but for some reason not killing him, which really annoyed me. But yeah, he's got the sword, which means a lot more Parsians are going to be following him now. I mean, he's just saved all the people of Mariam and basically showed them, yeah, I'm the real king. I've got this sword. And then he's going to be able to stand up and say, my name is Hilmes. I'm the son of Osrius. You know, everyone follow me. So that's going to be fantastic. He's going to have a much more devoted segment of the Parsians now. Meanwhile, we've got Arslan, who's just decided that finally he's going to go against his father. He's done with this whole idea of being thrown out and cast aside. And he's like, fuck it. I'm listening to Etwell. Because Etwell just wants to save her king. And Arslan figures if he does save the king, and if he does manage to stop Andragoras from just randomly killing him, which Andragoras totally would. I mean, Andragoras is pissed, but yeah, Arslan has the better idea in this. Back in those days, especially when it came to like the Westerners, they did a lot of ransom kind of stuff. They did a lot of bargaining. So yeah, capturing, in a sense, is what they really want to do. And, you know, Arslan's going to be a bit too ethical with it. And just be like, I'll set you free, it's fine. Because that's like a bit too hopeful that he'll just, from the good of his own soul, decide not to come back and attack. But, you know, Etwell's got the right idea. Etwell knows Innocentus is trapped there and just wants to get out. And it's his brother that's really leading this whole thing. I mean, it has been his brother since the beginning, but his brother's now stressing out about everything. Oh, man. So, yeah. We had that side from Arslan and Etwell. That was all they really did in this episode. We had Arslan contemplating everything that's gone on, listening to Etwell's reasoning, thinking about his own reasoning, thinking about his own growth as this series has gone on. Who he started as with a completely indoctrinated little prince who thought he had the royal blood of the family. Also thought that slavery was completely fine, and as he's grown up, in no small part actually thanks to Estelle, and thanks to the Lusitanians attacking, he's learnt how bad slavery is, he's learnt how much people suffer outside of Equitana, and he's come to that different way of thinking where he wants everyone to have some kind of decent living. So, I mean, Arslan's grown leaps and bounds. It's cool. It's so nice to see him finally get to the point where he believes in his own ideals enough that he's charging into battle despite the fact that it's going to bring him into conflict with his father. And meanwhile, we did have Andragoras' story as well, which was a little bit weird. I mean, we had Kishward actually discover the letter that Old Man Vafris had actually sent, basically saying Arslan's not part of the royal family. He didn't actually get to read it though, because somehow exactly when he found it, Tahmine happened to walk into the room and discover the letter herself. I mean, that was some magical timing right there. And meanwhile, Tahmine handled everything like a boss. She didn't like try to get Kishward hurt. She just took the letter, brought it to her husband, and they had this big royal meeting, which was very tense and very interesting, with Andragoras standing over everything, pulling out his sword, stabbing through the letter and burning it, and essentially saying, like, yeah, we're the royal family, we've got secrets, doesn't matter, you just have to believe in us, kind of thing. And, you know, Kishwad was fine with that. Kishwad's such a loyal knight. He's got that whole thing where he does care about Arslan, but at the same time, he 100% understands Andragoras is the king, and that's who he's following. Meanwhile, pretty much every other leader of their armies there is just thinking about Arslan and deciding that Andragoras was too harsh with him. So, you know, they may well be swayed over when it comes to Arslan trying to stop them from killing Innocentus. Or who knows, they may even be swayed over to Hilmes, finding out that Hilmes has Ruknabat. Oh, God. But yeah, we also had Kubad, who showed up and just had a bromance with Kishwad, where they both talked about how they used to be the Mars Band. That's the only reason Kubad's sticking around. It's because he thinks Kishwad would be lonely without him. And, you know, they gotta be together because, you know, got to keep the country in order. They're like the only Mars band left. Daryun was stripped of his title right before he left to join Arslan. Oh man, that is crazy to think about. So yeah, it was a fantastic episode full of setting up stuff. Oh, that was right. Also Giscard, whose whole plotline was just him basically saying how pissed off he is. Having to pretend still that he likes his brother and he wants his brother to survive when really he just wants him to kick the bucket. It was a series of incredible bad luck that his brother managed to survive so far anyway. But yeah, he's just getting ready to defend Equitana, even though he doesn't give a shit about it. He hates it so much, he just hates the Parsians even more. So fantastic times. Gonna see so much fighting going on in the next season. It's just, we don't know when the next season will be. Or like I said, they may not go for a next season next. That they may end up doing is doing a movie. Like the Battle of Equitana, where all four sides clash and we get to see who wins. And that would be quite good, because I think for a movie they'd have to step that animation quality up, and I definitely would like to see that. I mean, they've had some good fights in this show so far, but a lot of the time the CG ruins it, so it would be good to see that. But yeah, just in general, for the ending to a season, this episode was very disappointing. They set up everything for a great next arc, whatever they do. It's just, I don't want that to be the end of a fucking season. If you want to do setup, you should do it like 2 episodes before the end. You shouldn't do it for the final thing. But that's just my feelings on it. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. For me, this wasn't a great episode, but the season was amazing. I love Arslan Senki as a whole. The storyline is just getting better and better. They're hinting at things here and there which are great. I mean, we even had Kishwad actually mention the idea of the royal family bloodline's curse, which leads me to think that there's something really going on with the royal bloodline, and that may be why those dark magician guys are so interested in keeping Hilmes alive and returning him to the throne, because he's actually directly related to the royal family, whereas Arslan not so much. So I'm thinking there will be some kind of curse, there will be some kind of ritual that they can engage in and possibly summon this ancient demon that they talked about the original hero slaying with the sword Ruknabat. And you know, then Arslan and Silver Mask would have to work together. Oh, that's true actually. The Dark Magicians have been continuously talking about how there's never enough blood spilt on the ground to actually complete whatever ritual they're trying to do. Whether they are trying to summon a demon or just do some black magic kind of shit. Either way, the Battle of Equitana, now that you've got all 4 sides of this coming together to kill each other, that would be a good point for shit to go down. That would be a good point for enough blood to be spilt for them to actually be able to complete this ritual and for us to finally see what it is they're summoning. So yeah, that could be a good next bit. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this episode in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this review, wreck that like button like you mean it. Subscribe if you haven't already to see more. And definitely let me know what you thought of this episode and the series in general. And I will see you guys next time.